It is really my great honor to be here to deliver a presentation. But before I do this, I first want to congratulate our VNU for the 25th anniversary. Wish you a great success in the future. My title, as you see from the projector, is Emerging School of Thoughtful Pedagogy in Responding to the Technologizing Education. Now we know education is become more and more technologized. So in this kind of big context, I want to introduce you another very particular school of pedagogy called Thoughtful Pedagogy. Before we start my presentation, I want you to watch a short video clip, and you are all lesson observers. Try to see what you see. Give some comments.
Good morning. Thank you. This is History of Art 100. We'll be following Dr. Staunton's syllabus. Any questions so far?
Your name?
By a show of hands only, how many of you have read the entire text?
And the suggested supplements?
Long way from Oakland State.
Well, you girls do prepare.
If you've nothing else for us, we could go to independent study.
What do you see? This is a very interesting lesson. The teacher is teaching and the students know everything. Not only everything about the textbook, but also supplementary materials the students also know. So what happened? What pedagogy? He does not introduce herself well. He does not know her students well. She teaches to the textbook, right? Bad lesson planning, maybe. Bad classroom management, maybe. So there are many things you can talk about. So pedagogy, right? Pedagogy a technical thing? It's just a kind of technical thing. Yes and no. So pedagogy may be technical, or sometimes pedagogy is a way of living with our students. It's a way of dealing with the students. You should know the student's name. You know you have to build a good relationship. And once you have a good relationship, the true teaching and learning will happen, right? So there are many things to talk about. I just want to say, from technique to technology, we do a lot of technical skills of what and how to solve the problems. Then we have a series of technology, we call it a science of techniques. So these days, there is a special type of technology we call disruptive technology. Do you know that term? Disruptive technology. This is a term coined by a professor from Harvard University. It means that type of technology, once the technology occurs, it can destroy some industries. That's what we call disruptive, right? And make some new industry occurs. So that's what we call the disruptive technology. We have lots, like mobile internet, right? About 20 years ago, we have the mobile internet. So when the internet is mobile, the classroom teaching and learning is no longer only occurs in classrooms, right? So we have 5G, in China, everybody is 5G now, cloud tech, Internet of Things, knowledge automation. To do knowledge, you can to produce the knowledge automatically through Google, through Baidu, through a lot of things. So teacher, if you still teach knowledge, no, we can get the knowledge from internet very easily. VR, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, 3D print, and at end, early last year, we have ChatGPT. You know that, right? ChatGPT. That is another disruptive technology. Then early this year, we have another called Sora. Do you know Sora? Yeah, Sora. So all these type of things we call disruptive technology. So we have to think about our teacher. We are all teachers, and the students in the purple, you will be teachers soon. We are asked, can AI replace humans? Can artificial intelligence replace humans? Knowledge delivery, can AI do that? Yes. That's for sure, yes. Competency enhancement, yes, right, mostly. What about feelings, emotions? No, not yet. But in the future, who knows? So there is a tendency that what we call culture. Our culture has more than once been called a technological culture. Technological culture, right? So technological thinking is today the basis, the motor, and the mark of nearly every cultural activity or field. So this culture has many advantages in comparison with the past. But the reverse is also true. We are more and more confronted with major problems and threats as a result of technological thinking. So technology is a good thing, it's great, but on the other hand, we have to be aware it may be bad. Now, for example, lack of human contact. For example, machines start to become humans, and humans start to become machine. We are act like a machine, but the machine is trying to act as a human beings. So it's very interesting. Now let's see another video, a very, very short one. Look at this. You know, our parents are too busy, right? We usually do something like this. Like, look at me, look at me. When you're kids, you can do something like this, right? You hide your face, then you go, peek-a-poo, right? Peek and see you, and the kids will laugh. But nowadays, parents are so busy, they cannot do anything like this. They have to work. Then they buy something like this, a panda. Let's see. I will play along and along, but what do you think? What's your thoughts? Is this good? Of course it's good. It's released the parents a lot of time. But on the other hand, as a mother, as a father, do you like your kid in this kind of situation very often? No, I don't want to. Right? Okay? So, take a different perspective to look at pedagogy, because pedagogy is a major theme of today's presentation. Classroom is a multi-dimensional system. It's a multi-dimensional system, ever-changing, with many contingencies. A lot of unexpected moments. In a sense, some part of the lesson can never be planned. Once you get into the classroom, things will change. Then you have to face, AI can do nothing, but the teacher, you can do nothing, but you can also do something. So this requires the teacher a special quality, the pedagogical thoughtfulness. Pedagogical thoughtfulness means the sensitivity, right? Okay, that's what I'm going to share with you. Let me give you some examples in classroom moments. I did a lot of projects. For example, this case, when Miss Lang is checking whether the students are able to recite the poem. Jenny, the student, cannot recall some lines. He said, Miss Lang, can you recite the poem? You want me to recite the poem, but can you recite the poem by yourself? While the teacher is reading to the class, John's writing as a piece of model writing, he hears the students whispers, John copied it. John copied it. Many, these kind of things. So, what should we do? I collect a lot of stories. The stories I called textual data. Okay, this is one of the data I collected. It's a very interesting data. I asked the teacher, can you remember a most unforgettable moment when you are a student? He said, yes, I do. Then he told me the story. He said, in my student life, there are quite a few teachers who taught me English. But there is one teacher whom I can never forget. She was my grade 8 English teacher, Mrs. Chu. In grade 7, my English was just average. But from grade 8, I started to love English. Every day, I was looking forward to having her lesson. Look at that. Do you looking forward to your teacher's lesson? There was one moment that I can still remember now clearly. That was an English unit test. I felt that I did well on the test. I knew that I could almost get 100 points. For one misspelled word, I cannot get 100. I missed one letter in one word. But to my surprise, when I got the test paper, I saw the big 100 on it. The teacher didn't deduct any points to my paper. Miss Chu praised me highly in class. She said, I was great. Everybody should learn from me. I felt so happy in that moment. And this is the moment I can never forget. Okay, this is the story. Our teachers, every teacher, every student may have something very similar, right? But this is very common. But if we do pedagogical thinking, pedagogical questioning, then we say, yes, it is very common, but have you ever thought why this child can still remember it so clearly? Why? Is there anything unique to this teacher? What does a mediocre child start to like English? And every day, I'm looking forward to having her lesson. When we are looking forward to the lesson, we'll put our hands in the back and looking at the door, expecting the teacher, right? But do you have such experience? The teacher underlined the word and gave the student 100 points. Many, many questions we can ask. In this dialectic story, we see a good teacher or not a good teacher, but we need to think about it. This is pedagogical. And fundamental questions. Is there teaching and learning? More questions. Was the teacher aware this tiny incident created a lasting impact? So teachers do a lot of this kind of tiny things. But so these are some of the themes I got from the stories. So we collect the stories, that's so-called data, text data. Then we analyze the texts We find the meanings from the texts by focus group, by discussion, not by myself alone. If by myself alone, then that's not research. So these are the things. Teaching as an embodied knowing, learning might not be observable. In classroom teaching and learning, something you can observe, but something you cannot observe because it's hidden. The teacher's eyes, when they look at the student, that eye can create a strange impact. So that type of things, right? So what makes a good teacher? Look at this paragraph to see whether you agree or not. Someone may have learned all theories of child development, know all curriculum methods, and have practiced all techniques of instruction. And yet, this person may be a poor teacher, a bad teacher. So therefore, we call for a new perspective of a thoughtful pedagogy. So teaching is very difficult. It's a technical thing, but it's a non-technical as well. Teaching is difficult because it is improvisational, it is normative, it is embodied, and it is pedagogical. So that's why it is very difficult. That's how I introduce you a new school of pedagogy. I called it thoughtful pedagogy, or in other words, phenomenological pedagogy. I did this a lot in many places, and I start to build a new school of pedagogy. I call it thoughtful pedagogy. This is a notion. Pedagogy in the conventional understanding is instrumental, technical, methodological, but the new perspective in pedagogy is an art, is a tactfulness, thoughtfulness, sensitivity in living with our students. In addition to the above understanding, it is also a higher level of non-technical thinking in pedagogy. We're calling for a cultivation of thoughtfulness and sensitivity in teachers and adults so as to help students to grow healthily as a whole person, okay? So how to cultivate teachers' thoughtful pedagogy in our teacher education? We need to wonder. We need to explore and research our lived experience of classroom teaching and learning. So these are the things I want us to think about. Reflective practice in teaching. The reflection before action, reflection in action, reflection on action, reflection after action, and eventually will become thoughtful action. Okay? So that's what I'm trying to say. Thank you for attention. Thank you. That's all for my presentation.
Yeah.